Howdy, welcome back to the Dice Cast. We're here from the Just Hammer bunker again, continuing our cycle through Soulblight against all the Destruction factions, which Justin plays all of them. So, what do you got going on tonight?
We are bringing Gloomspite. Very few actual Gitz, though. We are mainly going to be concentrating on Troggoths or Trolls, and a couple of spiders mixed in.
Sure. I was doing a bunch of research in advance of this matchup. I watched Ernest Scared Stupid, where he defeats the Trolls with milk, so we'll see how that works out. But I'm running an interesting Kastelai list, double dragon list, so we'll get into that.
I feel some dead Trolls coming.
We'll see. We'll see. The Trolls are definitely scary.
Yeah. Before I get into my list of Troggoths, I wanted to mention the sweet swag we got going on. Our new branded, the Dice Cast merchandise. Not available yet for mass consumption, but Nick and I are looking pretty spiffy. Anyways, so tonight I'm bringing Glog's Mega Mob with a Dinkled Trogboss as my general. He has the command ability that allows, the commander trait that allows him to roll a 4 at the beginning of the hero phase, and on a 4 up, he gets a command point. He will not have an artifact. The sub-faction we're in gives him the command ability that he can pick a unit within 12 of him and give them 4-up spell protection, which is pretty nice. And he's got kind of a outdated command ability that actually allows units within 18 of him to reroll 1s, which is really nice now with all-out attack. Then we're following that up with an Ragnarok with the Web Spinner Shaman. He'll know Sneaky Distraction, and he will have the Amulet of Destiny as his artifact. I just want to keep him around, keep him casting spells, and that 5-up after save is huge for him. I'm bringing a Web Spinner Shaman as well. It's kind of nice, the two play off each other, giving +1 to cast, and I also will have the Scuttle Tide, so I'll basically have a +2 to cast that 7 cost endless spell, which will be nice. Then lastly, I'm bringing the Madcap Shaman that is going to know Hand of Gork, and he's going to have the best artifact in all of Gloomspite Gitz, listed as the Moonface Mammoth, which basically, to sum it up, gives an extra rend against a unit within 12 of it. Then I'm rounding out the list with 6 units of 3 Rock Guts and 2 units of 3 Fell Waters. Kind of want to stay on the whole troll theme. I'm pretty excited about running those guys. The Mega Mob actually makes their regeneration slightly better. It's on a 3-up instead of a 4-up, so hopefully I can keep them alive. And I like that the Rock Guts have 2 rend, and they also have a 5-up after, which is nice. This is wrapped up with a Battle Regiment, a Warlord Battalion, and the 2 Fall Waters and 1 unit of the Rock Guts are Hunters of the Heartland. Super excited to get the list out. I know typically we don't think of Gloomspite Gitz or Trolls as being super competitive, but I think it definitely has some play. I'm bringing all competitive units, so excited to see what they can do against these scary dragons. Nick, what you got tonight?
One of my favorite games on the Nintendo when I was growing up was Double Dragon, and so that's what I'm doing tonight, Double Dragon. This was a list that some variation of it was fairly competitive in 2nd edition at various times, and so I think it's got even more legs in 3rd edition. Running a Kastelai list, Prince Vordrai, and a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, that's the Double Dragons. Backing them up with some good area of effect buffs in Manfred and Belladama. And then my units, 3 units of Battle Line, are 2 units of Blood Knights and 1 unit of Direwolves, and that's it. Pretty light on bodies in general. It's a very elite list, but everything's really good. So we'll see how it can do. The Vampire Lord has Rousing Commander and Fragment of the Keep, and then Flaming Weapons. Both Belladama and Vordrai have Amethystine Pinions, and then Manfred's got Fading Vigor. It's in a 3-drop, got as much as I could into the 1-drop battalion, so we'll see how it does. Tonight we're going to be playing Feral Foray. 3 objectives on each side, and we've got deployment out to 9 inches away from the center line. This one plays like Scorched Earth used to, where you can burn your opponent's objectives starting in round 2, and then you want to control your own objectives. Otherwise, scoring is pretty standard for 3.0.
So my deployment was to kind of spread out across the board, keep the Dankhold Troggoth centered for his command abilities. That gives rerolls of 1 for 18. I kept my Ragnarok off to one side. Should be able to move pretty freely because it ignores terrain features. I put my Spider, both Web Spinner Shamans next to each other because of the +1 to cast being important. Stuck my Madcap between a bunch of fighting units just because I want to make sure that if they are going to get into combat, they are giving a unit basically, or an additional rend. I put my Hunters of the Heartland kind of forward just so if you come in, they're not going to get so much monstrous effects put on them. And yeah, that's about it.
Absolutely no subtlety here from either side for the deployment. I did put 1 unit of my Blood Knights into the keep so that they can deep strike later on, but then both armies just really towed the line. Both of us are pretty straightforward melee armies, and I felt a little bit comfortable towing the line, knowing that the maximum threat range wasn't going to bring a lot of heat onto me during turn 1, potentially some from teleporting, but not a lot of pressure turn 1, so I was able to deploy a little bit more aggressively. The terrain on the board will definitely make some of the movement interesting. All of us have to, or everything on the Gloomspite side except for the Spider has to walk over it the old-fashioned way. I do have a little bit more on the flying side, but there's still going to be some interesting lanes that open up for fighting, it feels like. So let's get into it. I will give you turn 1.
Sounds good.
Good luck, Justin.
Good luck, Nick. So the moon is going to start in the corner. It does not come on until the start of the second battle round, at which point I'll roll. On a 1, it will not move. 2 through 5, it will move 1 spot, which is just be in this quadrant. 6 would move it to the middle, and you roll for it at the beginning or before each battle round. So first, I'm going to pick my battle tactic. I am going to be kind of the coward and pick Ferocious Advance. You complete this battle tactic. You pick 3 units. You complete this battle tactic with all the units you picked. Run in the following movement phase and finish that run within 3 inches of each other. If all 3 of those monsters are... it won't be all monsters. I only have 1 monster in my army. I'm going to pick this unit of Troggoth, that Spider, Web Spinner Shaman, and the big Ragnarok. My Dankhold Troggoth is going to try to roll a 4 up in order to add command point. He will not.
And I'm going to attempt the same with my Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. And he gets it.
And then my command trait will go on another 4 up. I will get an additional 1 there. I'm going to start off in my magic. I'm going to have the Web Spinner Shaman attempt to cast the Scuttletide. This will go off on a 5 on dice because of the +2s. And he gets it on a 12.
Okay, I will attempt to unbind that with Belladonna. And it goes off.
And then I will attempt to cast with my... I'll attempt to cast Mystic Shield with my Madcap Shaman on... I'll see if I get it first. I'm going to get out a 6.
Okay, that's the cast there. Going to attempt to unbind with Board Drive. Goes off.
On this unit of Rock Guts right there. I'm going to attempt to cast Sneaky Distraction on Spider. We'll go off on a 9.
I'll attempt to unbind with Belladonna. It goes off.
I guess I will attempt to cast Arcane Bolt. It's going to go off on a 7.
Manfred will attempt to unbind that, and it goes off.
I'm going to go like this, and then I'll roll 6 dice. Each 5+ will be a mortal wound on Belladonna. That will just be 1.
Okay. So she'll attempt to pass those off on to the direwolves on a 3+. Yep, and then they've got their 6 up and failed it, so 1 damage on.
That will be the end of my hero phase. Into movement. I have no interest in making any of Nick's attacks shorter range, and I want to be able to guard my backboard and make it difficult for Nick to move in. Still prone to the double turn, but I want to fight more on my turns than on Nick's. So I'll let Nick see if he can move across the board, get in with charges, and then see where that leaves us.
So that puts you at 4 victory points at the end of the top of round 1. And we'll see what I can get done here. Right, going into the bottom of round 1 then, we each gain a command point. I never used my command point last turn from my Vampire Lord, so that one will go away. For my battle tactic this turn, I'm going to take Savage Spearhead, completed if there are 2 or more of my units in my opponent's territory at the end of the turn, and get an extra point if 2 or more of them are monsters. So hopefully I'll be able to accomplish that. For my heroic action, I am going to attempt to get an extra command point with Manfred. On a 4 up. Failed it.
I am going to attempt to get an extra command point with my Troggoth. Failed it.
Okay. Going into my hero phase, I'm going to start off with some casting. Vordry is going to attempt to cast his War Scroll spell, Quick Blood. Fails it on a 4. The Vampire Lord is going to attempt Flaming Weapons. Gets it on a 5.
Which one's the Vampire Lord?
This one.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to unbind with Web Spinner Shaman.
Sure. Okay. So Flaming Weapons off on him. Manfred is going to then attempt to cast Mystic Shield. Gonna get that on a 7.
My Madcap Shaman's gonna attempt to unbind. Nope.
Okay. So Mystic Shield on my Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. Manfred's then going to attempt to cast Arcane Bolt. Gets it on a 6.
That's fine.
Okay, Belladonna is going to attempt to cast Killing Moon. Getting it on a 10 with her +1.
I'll attempt to unbind with my Ragnar. No.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's unbound. Yeah, I'd want to cast an unbinding rolls for friendly Spider Fang Wizards while they are within 12 of any friendly mouse visibility.
Okay, no Killing Moon for Belladonna then. She's going to attempt to cast M15 Pinions then as well. Fails that on a 5. I'm going to use the invocation from Belladonna to heal damage on the direwolves. They've just got 1 damage on them, so take that off. Manfred is going to use his command ability, that bubble of +1 to hit, +1 to wound. At the end of the hero phase, the Skull Tide is going to move. Go ahead. Alright, into my movement phase then.
So I'll roll 5 dice, or 6 dice, 5 ups with the 1. None. Okay. 3.
3 on Manfred. Got his 6 ups. Made none of those. He ignores the first one per phase, so he'll take 2. At the end of my movement phase, I'm going to bring down then my Blood Knights that were in the keep.
Yeah, I'm going to spend mana point to redeploy just these guys.
Sure. And we can get into some shooting then. I've got some pretty incredible shooting to do. Alright, my Vampire Lord and Vordrai both have shots of sorts. I'm going to do the Vampire Lord first. He's going to put his Pestilential Breath into the unit of Troggoths with the actually that unit of the green ones.
Sure.
In the center there. So on a 3 it will auto hit, 3 or less. And it does. So automatically hits, it's wounding on 2s. It wounds at -3.
That's going to go straight through.
Okay, d6 damage, 5 damage.
They have 5 up. Ignores. They will ignore 2, so that's 3 going through.
Okay. Vordrai is then going to target the same unit with his ability, which is kind of like a shooting attack, but it's just some mortal wounds on a 3 up.
What's the range?
9 inches. Oh, he might be out of range. This is this guy.
Oh yeah, he's out of range.
Is he in range of that other unit?
Of this unit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on a 3 up. Yes, he does d6 mortal wounds. 5 mortal wounds to them.
5 ups. Need 1. I will kill 1 guy.
Okay. Then we can get into some charging. So the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon is going to attempt to charge first. And he's got an 8. Manfred is going to attempt to charge. 5 inches, I don't think is going to cut it. I'm going to spend a command point to re-roll that. And 8 inches will do it.
I'm going to Unleash Hell. Spend a command point on the Fell Waters.
Okay, let me move first. Sure. Alright, so Unleash Hell from the Fell Waters.
So these we're going to hit on 3s. Like, wound on 3s. Yes, -2 round.
Okay, 1 at -2. 5 ups, failed it.
D3. For 3.
Okay, 3 6-ups. Made none of those. He ignores the first one of the phase, so he's going to take 2. And Vordrai, going to fail it on a 6.
Do you want to try to charge with these guys?
Yeah, I'll attempt to charge with the Blood Knights then. They need a 9. They're going to fail it on a 5. At the end of the charge phase then, got a couple monstrous actions to do. The Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon is going to stomp the wounded unit of Troggoths there. So yes, he damages them for 1 mortal wound.
Kill one of them?
Don't they get a 5-0?
Oh yeah, sorry. 5-0.
Manfred is then going to attempt to roar at the orange-hued unit of Troggoths there. And yes, he does on a 5. At the start of the combat phase then, I'm going to teleport with Manfred. And then I'm going to attack with the Vampire Lord. He's going to put all of his lance attacks into the orange-hued unit, and all of his other attacks into the green unit.
I am going to spend 1 to give these guys all of defense.
Okay. So the lance attacks then, he's got 3 lance attacks, and these are at, currently with Manfred there, 2s and 2s. But I'm -1 to hit, is that correct?
You'd have to be wholly within 12.
Very well, yeah, I am. Of the...
Yeah, you're -1.
Okay, -1 to hit, cancelled out by Manfred's. I'll be hitting on 3s and wounding on 2s. 2 hits. 1 wound at -2 on the lance.
So this, they went to a 4-up, they'll be on a 6-up. No.
Okay, that is 4 damage on that one.
4 5-ups. Whoa, 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 whoa. Me too.
Okay, so it's just 2 damage into that unit then.
And these are into the green or the orange?
That is into the orange. And then the rest of the attacks going into that green unit. First off, the Snapping Maw attacks. 3 of those currently at 4s and 2s. None of them hit. And then the Claws, 7 of those. The Claws then at 4s and 2s. 2 of those. And that is 2 at -1. These are up to 3 damage because of the flaming weapons.
So it'll just be their straight 5-ups. Didn't make either damage.
3 damage each.
So it'll be 6 damage. I'll be rolling 5-ups. I made 2 that will kill another guy. Into my attacks. I'm going to start with, you don't have anything else that's going to attack, right?
I'm going to go ahead and use all-out defense with him. And he is Mystic Shielded, so he's going to be at effectively a +2 save.
So he is just going to pile in there. He has 2 attacks. This will be 2 hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. Both these are at -2 round.
Okay, so that -2 brings him back to his normal 3-up. And he makes 1, fails 1.
3
6s. All of them go through.
Then this unit will pile. That will be 6 attacks, 3s and 3s. Wow. Rolling hot. 5 go through at -2.
Okay, still on a 3-up. Failed 2 of those.
That's 6 damage.
Okay. 6s. And made 1 of those, so he's going to take 5 more.
Then this back unit, this guy will not get in. So it'll be 4 attacks, 3s and 3s. 3 go through. 2 at -2.
3-ups. Made them both. Alright, at the end of the combat phase then, the hunger will trigger on him because he did kill some models, so he'll heal D3. Gonna get back 3.
I will not have to take any battle shock because I'm fully within 12 of my terrain piece.
Sure.
I still believe I hold. You're going to get... I think you screwed up. Oh, yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah. 2 and... you get 2, 3, 4.
And then we've got a priority roll. And we'll tie it. So you get to go first, or you get the choice, rather.
I am going to take the turn.
Sure.
I feel like I can't let this guy roam any freer in my terrain or my space, and I need to. I want to take him off the table. Hopefully, I also want to get some units into Ordry if I can. Yeah, that's my goal. I want to deal with these guys over here. So it'll be an interesting turn.
Okay. Battle tactic.
For my battle tactic this round, I'm going to take Slay the Warlord. There is a chance I don't do this. I mean, this Vampire Lord could tank. I rolled really well last turn, so I'm a little nervous about picking it. He still has how many wounds left?
9 wounds.
9 wounds. He'll probably get a heal. So we're looking at, on average, he has like 11 wounds left. I will be able to get quite a few things into him, and hopefully like a few shots that do some mortal wounds on him. So, yeah, that's the goal, is to get rid of him. First, we got to roll for the moon. On a 1, it won't move. On a 2 through 5, it will move 1 spot. On a 6, it'll move to the middle. It's going to move 1 spot, so it's basically going to be affecting this quadrant. So at the beginning of my hero phase, I'm actually going to take Finest Hour and put it on my Trog boss.
Okay. I'll be doing Finest Hour as well on the Vampire Lord.
At the beginning of my hero phase, I am going to attempt to cast Sneaky Distraction first on my Ragnarok. This will go off on a 6. It will not go off. I am going to attempt to cast Mystic Shield from my tiny little guy. I think this will just go off on a 5 because of the +1.
Okay, I'll attempt to unbind that with Belladonna. Blocked it.
And then for my last, I'll attempt to cast Arcane Bolt with the Ragnarok. Oh, I got 2 more. Ragnarok will not go off on a 4, right? It's a 5.
Yeah.
And then I will actually attempt to cast the Hand of Gork from my Madcap Shaman. It will not go off either. I'm going to eat his mushroom, and I am going to attempt to cast Night Shroud. It's going to go off on a 5.
Okay, I'll attempt to unbind that with Wardray. Blocked it.
Very poor magic phase. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Very poor.
Fair.
And then the trolls will regenerate on a 3-up. No, they won't. Into movement. At the end of my hero phase, I'm going to again move my Ragnarok, or my Scuttle-Tide. I will choose Manfred. 6 dice, 5 ups for 1.
Okay.
I don't even roll it.
Sure. On a 6.
In a movement, I have put my Fellwaters in a position to hopefully charge Vordry, which might be a fool's errand, but I would like to pin him in and give him the -1 to attack. I have put my Madcap Shaman in a place where he will reduce the save of the Vampire Lord by 1, which will be huge because I do need to take him off the board here. I've moved my other unit of Fellwaters to hopefully be able to shoot and charge into that unit and kind of pin them in the corner there. If they don't make it, it's not the end of the world, because I still have to be slightly concerned about the dire wolves coming in to try to steal that objective. I will need a fairly large charge to get my Dinko Troggoth in. Not the end of the world though, because I can spend a command point to get him reroll some of the units in front, reroll ones to charge. So into shooting. So the noxious vomit for these guys is only 6 inches. So I think I might only have one in. Yeah, only one guy will get in. This will be on 3s. Or I'm sorry, 2s and 3s. Negative 2.
Okay, 5 up. Fill it.
D3 damage. For 2.
Okay.
All these guys use a shooting phase attack. How it works is they pick a unit within 12 of them, and they roll. If they roll less than the number of models in their unit, they do D3.
Less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to. So I'm going to start with this back group of green guys. On a 3, they will do D3. Nope. Then the group of orange, they will D3 for 2.
Okay, 6s. Fill.
And then the single guy will have to roll a 1 to do his. Nope. This group would need to roll a 2 or less. They do D3 and Mordrai for 1.
6s. Fill it.
So 1, this will hit on a 2. Wound on a 3. Negative 2 round.
Okay. 5. Made.
Into charges. I'll first attempt to charge with these Fellwater back here. They need a 6. They're gonna get it. My Ragnarok will need a 3. He's gonna get out on a 7. We're gonna roll for the Troggoth. It's gonna need to be large. 11
large.
seems like it will do it. I'm gonna leave him out. Due to the fact that I just don't want to drain Mordrai and that to get him killed.
Sure.
The Fellwaters that are on the backside are going to attempt to charge.
Okay, need a 6.
At a 10. These 2 dank hold are going to attempt to get in as well. Get in on a 10. At the end of my charge phase, I'm going to attempt to roar at Vampire Lord. It's a 3 up.
Okay.
He will be roared at.
Sure. My Vampire Lord is then going to attempt to do the same to your Ragnarok. And he will succeed. Vordry is going to try to...
He can't either of those guys.
but he can do something. Vordry is going to attempt to destroy your faction terrain.
Sure.
It fails to do so.
At the beginning of combat, the Madcap Shaman is going to pick your Vampire Lord to give -1 to save.
Sure.
I'm going to spend 1 command point on the unit of orange guys to give them rerolling 1s. And I will pick them to get all out defense.
You don't do all out defense.
Or all out attack, sorry.
Okay.
I forget so much. Alright, so they're going to have 6 attacks. They're going to be hitting on 2s.
Okay.
Wounding, rerolling 1.
So Border Eye is currently at +2 to save and then -1 to save because of your ability, correct?
And then these will wound on. These should wound on 4s?
Yeah, -1 to wound. Oh, at the start of the combat phase, I'm sorry if you don't mind me walking this back.
Sure.
He's going to use his Rousing Commander ability.
He can't use any.
It's not a command ability. He's going to use
okay.
his Rousing Commander ability.
What does that do?
He and any Kastelai vampires wholly within 12 will be +1 damage on their attacks and +1 to the wounds characteristic. How many went through on him?
4 went through.
At what rank?
At -2, so it's essentially -3.
Okay.
So it should be 4.
And he's +2, so 4 ups.
4.
And I will make 2 of those.
It's 6 damage.
Okay. 6s. Made 2 of those, so he takes 4 in total.
And he has how many wounds?
Currently, because of Rousing Commander, 15.
He will be at 11.
Okay.
Here you go.
I will activate with him first, and I'm going to put everything into the Shaman, the Ragnarok Shaman.
Sure.
Fairly significantly tabled here. The Lance, not on the charge, is going to be 3 attacks. I'm no longer at -1 to hit or any penalties like that, right?
Correct.
So these are going to be 2s and 2s. 3 hits. And 2 at -1.
He 2 5-ups. He made 1, and then that will be
3
3
damage.
5-ups to ignore because of the. So 2 will go through.
Okay. Then the Snapping Maw attacks. It's going to be 3 at 3s and 2s. All 3 hit. And all 3 wound at -2.
These will be 6-ups. 3.
Yep.
Didn't make any damage.
D6 each. 14.
He'll have 6. 10. Uh, 14 5-ups.
Oh, good roll.
Yeah, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Still 7 go through.
Okay. And then the Claw attacks. He's down to 4 of them on 3s and 2s. All of them hit. And all of them wound. That's 4 at -1.
4 5-ups. Made 2 damage.
They're 3 damage each because of the flaming weapons.
These will be 5-ups.
Good rolling.
So 3 more. He's gonna survive with 12 wounds taken.
Rough. How many more does he have? 2?
Yeah.
Oh, you spiked those hard.
Yeah. I'm gonna next attack with my Fellwater into Mordrai. Yeah. They have a 2-inch reach. So these will be 4 attacks each. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, -1 rend.
Okay. I am going to spend all out defense with Border.
Okay. 3. Threes. So this will be 5 going through at -1.
5 at -1. All-out defense puts him on 3. So failed 2 of those.
4 damage.
Okay. 6s. And failed all those. I will activate next with my Blood Knights. I'll get 4 of those in.
They're -1.
Okay. 13 attacks on 4s and 3s with -1. That is going to be 4 at -1.
These will be 6-ups. Need 1.
Okay, 1 damage apiece on those.
I will kill 1.
And then the mount attacks, also 4s and 3s. Excuse me, 5s and 4s on these. Two at no round.
2 5-ups. No. This guy will be there. I'll pile them in and attack. This will be 4 attacks. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. Oof. None.
Okay. My last activation at the moment then is Vordrai. He's got 4 attacks with his lance. Currently from Manfred's aura, these are going to be on 2s and 2s. And I'm going to put all these into the... I'm actually... you're immune to the battle shock here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put all these into the rock guts here. So 2s and 2s. That is 2 at -2.
Those will go straight through.
Okay. He is +1 damage on his lance attacks because of the rousing commander, so those 3 damage each.
So that's 6 5-ups. I made 1. I'll kill 1 and put 1 wound on another.
Okay. And then his maul attacks at 3s and 2s. Going to be 2 at -2.
Those will go right through.
It's going to be a total of 4 damage.
4 5-ups. And again, he's dead.
Okay. And then the rest of the attacks are going to be wasted there.
I will, at this point it doesn't really matter. I'm going to pile in with these guys. They have a 2-inch reach, so each of them will get in. This will be 6 attacks. Hitting on 3s. Wounding on 3s. So it'll be 3 at essentially -3 round.
Okay. With the +2 from Finest Hour and Mystic Shields. 4s. 3 of them, you said?
Yep.
Made 1 of them.
6 damage.
And that is going to be him.
Then I'll attack with my Fellwaters into your guys. This will be 8 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. So that's going to be 4 at -1.
Okay. 4 forps. And failed 2 of those. 2
That's 4 damage.
Okay.
At the end of the combat phase, then, I think all that's left is for Manfred for Vordry to heal from the hunger, so he's going to get D3 back. He's going to heal for 3.
So I believe at the end of my turn, I will be able to, on a 4-up, bring back a unit of 2 Rocket Troggoths for the unit that was killed.
Sure.
Nope. So the turn was relatively successful. I took more damage on my Spider Fang than I would have liked, or my Ragnarok than I would have liked. But I got pretty lucky for it to even survive, so I'm not going to complain. I'm very happy to have gotten rid of the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. A little concerned about. I wish I would have made my Handed Gork so that I could have threatened the 2 objectives that have basically been left naked, and that didn't happen. So happy to have achieved my battle tactic. A little nervous about this turn, but see how it goes.
Going into the bottom of round 2, we will each gain 1 command point. We both still have a general on the field, as Vordry is an additional general. You scored a total of 4 there. Right. For my battle tactic this turn, I'm going to select Bring It Down, pick an enemy monster. I'll pick your Ragnarok, select the monster on the field. And if I kill it this turn, I'll complete that tactic. If I kill it with a monster, I'll get an extra point for that. I'm then going to attempt to heal Manfred as my heroic action. Need to beat a 10, and I did. So D3, he'll get back 2.
I need to beat a 6 or less. It's pretty small chances here, but I really need to heal the Ragnarok if I can, so I'm going to take the chance to roll under a 6. I will not.
On into the hero phase then. The first thing I'm going to do, just so I don't forget it, is going to be using Manfred's command ability. I'll then start to attempt some casting. Vordry is going to attempt Quick Blood. And that's going to go off on a 6.
What does Quick Blood do?
+1 hit, +1 wound. It's the same as Manfred's.
I'll attempt to unbind with the Madcap Shaman. No, God, bad rolls.
Manfred is going to attempt Fading Vigor. And that's going to fail. Manfred is also going to attempt his War Scroll spell, which is an area of effect damage spell. And that's going off on a 7.
I'll attempt to unbind with... How many spells do you have left again?
2 from Belladonna.
I'm going to attempt to unbind with this guy. Got it on a 7.
Yep.
He's going to need a 7 on dice. He's going to unbind it.
Okay. Belladonna is going to attempt to cast Killing Moon. Fails that with a 5 rather. And then Belladonna is going to attempt... There's 2 wounds left on the shaman.
Mm-hmm.
Going to attempt Lycan Curse. And I think that fails on a 6. Alright, so not a great hero phase, but it is what it is. We'll get into movement here then. damage to him. Moving the token out of the way there.
Just 2.
2 damage on Manfred.
Yep.
6 ups. Failed both of those. He does ignore 1 more damage in his phase, so. My movement phase here, I'm really setting up to try to take some things off the table. I need to get the Arachnarok Shaman off the table. That shouldn't be especially difficult, but I also need to set up to take that objective and swing my Blood Knights in and try to take off some of the casting as well if I can. Vordrai is tangled up with these Fell Waters, so hopefully I'll be able to remove those as well. Shooting. So this feels a little bit strange. Vordrei's ability happens in the shooting phase, but it's not a shooting attack, so it doesn't have any restrictions about using it in or out of combat. So I'm going to use his shooting ability, and I'm going to go after the caster there, the Madcap Shaman in the back, within 9 inches. On a 3-up, he fails it, so no result anyway. And then we can get into charges. The Blood Knights are going to attempt to charge. The unit of 5 Blood Knights here is going to attempt to charge. And they've got a 5. I think that should do it. That looks good. Yeah. Manfred is going to attempt to charge, and he got a 3, which is just enough.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I meant to unleash hell on.
Oh yeah, they can't because they're in combat.
Oh okay. Can I unleash hell? No, it's only if they get charged. Okay.
He could unleash hell right now.
No. Okay.
Just making it in there with Manfred. He does
So-
take some damage from the Kastelai.
Just 1, so he'll ignore it because it's a
Definitely
charge
ignores
phase.
that first wound in the charge phase.
I will roll for his. Yeah, he takes it, but then ignores it.
And then I'll roll a charge with these Blood Knights. They got an 8-inch charge. Is all the charges I need to make. At the end of the charge phase, then a couple monstrous actions. Manfred is going to attempt to stomp on the Arachnarok. Fails it on a 2, or no, stomp is on a 2, so success and 3 mortal wounds.
Oh, I'm sorry. 5 ups. Yeah. Okay.
And Vordrai is going to attempt to take out the faction terrain again.
That's on
3. Gets it.
It stays there. It is now just a piece of terrain. My first combat activation then is going to be Vordrai going into these Fellwater Trogs.
Before the start of that, I am going to give Vordrai -1 to his save.
I am going to spend all-out attack with Vordrai, and he's putting everything into the Fellwaters there. So he's got 4 lance attacks with the all-out attack. These
-1.
are -1 from
The Fellwater.
Oh, okay. So with the -1 and the all-out attack, these are on 3s and 3s. Got 3 hits and 2 wounds at -2.
We'll go right through.
Okay, 2 damage each on those because he's not on the charge.
So it's 6.
4.
4. Oh, cool.
And then the maw attacks are on 4s and 3s. Those, and then the claw attacks are going to be on 4s and 3s as well. That is going to be 4 at -1.
Should be 4 6-ups. I didn't make it.
2 damage each on those, so a total of 8 damage.
Yeah, we'll need it. I don't have any attacks, so we can go ahead. Pile if you want anything else.
So I will pile in. It is going to pull in some things. Yeah, they're well within 12. So they're going to be at +1/+1. Let's see. So 7 attacks with the swords and lances on 2s and 2s. That is going to be 4 at -1.
Checking. I think he only has a 6. Yep, damage.
2 damage each on those.
So that's
8 damage.
He'll get 8. 5 others. He's make 5 of these. He will not. He's dead.
Okay. Your activation then. I will spend all out defense.
Sure. So this will be 6 attacks, 3s and 3s. Three will go through at -2.
3 at -2 with the all out defense is going to be 4s. And I'm going to succeed at only one of those.
6 damage.
Okay. They still do have a banner, and now they're within range for 6s. Rerolling 1s. Reroll the 1. Made to 2 of them, so 4 damage in total there. That unit, because they killed a hero.
Oh, we're not done.
Yeah, I know, but they are +1 damage for the rest of the game.
Oh. Hopefully they'll be just I get 2 guys in. This will be 4 attacks, 3s, 3s. Oof, not good. 1 that's going to go through at -2.
Okay. 4 up. Failed it.
3 damage.
Okay, 6s, reroll 1s. 3 straight through. Overall, I feel really good about that turn. Vordrai did what he needed to do, and I was able to take off your Arachnarok and your Web Spinner Shaman, so down to just 1 caster there on the other side of the board. Could have been a little bit better, but definitely pretty happy about the results. And going into the priority roll, I feel really good if I'm able to take the priority.
Are any of these prime?
I don't think any of them are, no. Vordrai is going to heal from the hunger. He gets 3 back, so he's fine. I did complete my battle tactic, and I killed your monster with a monster with an ability from Manfred with the stop, so I will get the extra command point for that. And then at the end of the turn, I am going to choose to burn the objective that I took control of there. So I'll get a total of 4 objective points and 3 for the battle tactic for a total of 7 points. and we'll go into priority.
I rolled 5.
Okay. Got a 2.
I'm gonna take the turn.
Sure.
So if you need to remove one, go ahead.
Okay. I will go ahead then and remove the one in your back left.
We gotta roll for the moon. The moon is going to go, of course, 2 spots. It's gonna end up all the way in this corner. Typical moon, just always lets you down. I'm gonna take broken ranks.
Sure. To destroy the one remaining bloodline.
For my heroic action, I'm gonna attempt to roll with the dank hold to get an extra command point. He will.
And I will attempt to heal with Manfred. Yes, for 1.
Then I will try to regenerate my fellow waters over here. They will for D3. They'll be back. My Dankhold will also try to roll a 4 up for another command point. You'll get another command point.
At the start of your hero phase, I'm going to attempt to dispel the endless spell with one of my wizards. So I will attempt to remove that with Belladama. Will use one of her unbind attempts. And it's dispelled on a 13.
Yep. And so I'm gonna attempt to cast the Great Green Hand of Cork. This will be a 6 on dice. The Madcap Shaman is the worst caster of all time.
That's your only cast for the phase, right?
Into movement. Not getting the Hand of Gork, I feel like I'm pretty much... I just don't have enough movement to threaten the back half, so realistically I think this is probably the last turn. I'll let Nick take his turn, but I think at this point I can't win the game anymore. So I'm really just moving into a place to hopefully take Vordry off the table. I would like to do as much damage to Mr. Manfred as I can, and see where that leaves me. I'm going to start with my shooting from my single guy. He needs to roll 1. He does D3 into Manfred for 3.
3 to Manfred, 6 ups. Made one of them and ignores another one of them, so he's going to take 1.
Then my unit of 3 or less. Yes, D3 for 2.
6s. It's going to take one of those.
And then my guys in green.
Nope. Range on it?
Then these guys will be able to take a shot at...
Just a point of note, Vordry has +1 wound characteristics, so he's up to 15.
Okay. Just the unit of 3 will attempt to shoot into Vordry. Yeah, no. Into charges. I'm gonna attempt to charge with the Dankhold. He's gonna re-roll it. Get in on a 10.
For a command point?
Yeah.
Feel free to move that token out of the way.
My second group back there is going to charge. No 7, I don't know. 7 gets done.
7 is tight. Looks longer than that, but...
Yeah, but I don't know.
Did your Fellwater shoot?
It's only a 6-inch shot. Fellwaters are going to charge. They're going to get a 7. I think that is enough to get them into Manfred. guy over there will attempt to charge. He's going to get a 7.
The Fellwaters did pull in the direwolves there. I don't know if that matters to you. At the end of the charge phase, Vordry is going to use Roar on your Dankhold, so we cannot issue or receive command abilities. Yep. That fails on a 1 though. Manfred is going to attempt to stomp your Fellwaters. Yes. 1 damage on them.
I am going to, at the beginning of combat, I'm going to pick to get -1 save to Vordry.
Sure.
I'm going to spend a command point to. So if I spend it, he can only take 1. He can only be issued 1, right? Or can he be issued?
Yeah, he can only be issued.
I'll give him +1 to hit.
Start of the combat phase, I'm going to go ahead and teleport Manfred out of a sticky situation here.
So this will be 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s.
I'll go ahead and use all-out defense with Vordry.
Twos. 3 at essentially -3.
Okay. With the all-out defense then, putting him on a 2-up, these are going to be 5s. And I'll make all 3.
Wow.
Better be lucky than good.
It's pretty good.
Is that his only attack?
Yeah.
Okay. I will then fight with this lone Blood Knight back here into the. These are equivalent units, right? They're both the same?
Yeah.
Alright, into the green unit that I'm going to pile around like that. Pulling the orange unit out of combat. So 4 attacks on 3s and 3s, 3 hits, 2 wounds at -1.
These will be 6-ups.
Nope. And those are 2 damage each because he did kill a hero at 1 point.
These will be 5-ups. 3 will go through.
And then the mount attacks are on 4s and 4s. I'm going to fail all those. Nearly killed 1.
I'm going to pile in with the Fellwaters. This will be 8 attacks. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. So it'll be 5 at -1.
These are then on 6s. Make 1 of those.
8 damage.
Sure. 6-ups. And that is going to kill 4 direwolves. I will then make my attacks with board rise and put everything into the Dankhold, of course. With Manfred having teleported there, Vordry is now in his aura of +1 and +1. And I don't have any penalties here, right?
No.
Alright, so these are going to be 2s and 2s. 4, 3, 2s and 2s. 3 hits. 3 wounds at -2. At -2.
3 6-ups.
2 damage each on those.
I'll be at 6.
The maul attacks are going to be on 3s and 2s. All 3 hit. And all 3 wound at -2.
So wait, I thought he only had. Oh no, yeah. 1 6.
Okay, so that's d6 each, 7 damage.
He is dead.
Okay. That now means Wardry has +1 damage for the rest of the game.
I'm gonna roll these attacks, but after this, I am going to call it.
Sure.
So it'll be 6 attacks, 3s, and 3s. For 3 at -2.
Okay, that puts him on 5-ups. Made 2 of them, but how much damage each?
3.
And he's not in range of a hero, so that's just gonna kill.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just gonna call the game. I never was able to threaten Nick's back half of the board. I think my biggest mistake was bringing the Ragnarok into the Vampire Lord. I thought with how many wounds the Vampire Lord had taken at that point, I could, he wouldn't be as killy as he was into the Ragnarok, especially with the 5-up after, but I was fairly lucky just for him to survive that round of attacks. Yeah, I feel like I had some bad casting magic, but overall, I mean, the trolls are more of a fun army than they are competitive, and when you're running into, a double dragon plus Manfred's ridiculously good.
Absolutely. The combat prowess of the trolls can't be argued with. I mean, they're incredibly killy and durable as well. They're all solid units. It's the movement that really leaves them a little bit short, right?
Yeah. They're not very durable. Once you get, they're not going to save anything, and 5-ups are only going to give you, a third of your wounds back, so they're not super durable, and they're hurt by the fact that they don't get to issue commands to themselves, and they are not 5 wounds, which would make them count for more on the objectives. I made a mistake. I was excited that the Loon Shrine could be deployed up until fully within my territory, but realistically, you want to keep it better defended just so it can't be taken off. It wouldn't have mattered for this game.
Yeah, it's an interesting change for 3rd, how the faction terrain used to be very safe except in a couple of situations, and now almost every army, anybody that's bringing a monster has an ability to shut it off. It's a different situation.
It would have been interesting if I right away could have gotten in turn 2 something onto your back objectives, and at least made you not be able to come forward as much as you were able to. But the Madcap Shaman is not a very reliable caster when you need to get a 7. So, yeah, unfortunately, I just wasn't able to threaten the back of Nick's territory.
I think the Double Dragon list has legs. I think, like I said at the beginning, I think it's just gained a little bit of the things it needed for 3rd edition. Having access to area of effect buffs that can affect both of the Vampire Lords is a really big deal. Being able to make them particularly durable for a round or 2 is a big deal. I don't think it's going to be a top table list, but I think it can compete.
Just so you guys know, this is Nick's definition of a casual list, which involves double dragons, 2 units of Blood Knights, and Manfred. We
I don't have any graveyard. There is no graveyard on the table.
No, double dragons aren't very good, right? And Belladonna. So just so you know, my list was casual, and so was Nick's. So
I'm unless you deliberately take bad choices, I'm having a hard time coming up with Soulblight lists that are not
I think effective. Maybe if you go to kind of the more Soulblight is really good. I think Gloomspite is really showing its age at this point. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that everybody complains about this, but it's super real. Everybody gets extra rules with their allegiance abilities, and they tend to be really good. Gloomspite basically gets no extra rules, and their models are already fairly mediocre. And just the fact that you can't control the moon, and it's so random. you usually only get its effects for really one turn, and that's only happening 50% of the time anyway. So.
And then there are games like this where it just skips the middle of the table.
Yeah. So I mean, once it's on, it's really good, and maybe it's stronger than some allegiance abilities, but really probably not. And the Gitz just really needs like a more competitive allegiance abilities. I mean, that's one place they're solely lacking. Now, granted, I do think that this the train feature's gotten better.
The fact that it's garrisonable now is definitely a point in its favor. It does need to be, if you're going to use it as a garrison, it needs to be protected as such. But
yeah, I definitely should have moved it back. I mean, that's a lesson learned.
Your list isn't built to take advantage of a garrison.
No,
but
just for the fact of bringing back units of trolls after the fact, once it's gone, I can't do that, and that has been something that's approved, that you can actually bring back trolls now.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a good game. I think that we can see that Gitz needs a fair amount of help. If I was designing it, I think what I would do is make them a lot stronger with magic, not so conditional, and I think you could safely improve a lot of the saves across the board on them, and maybe not for the trolls. Trolls are probably okay where they're at, but
they're on 4s for the rockets, right?
5s. Everything's 5s, but at least it's got a 5-up after.
Sure, the 5-up after does make you a lot more survivable, but everything in the meta is pushing 1 point farther on save, 1 point lower on save, and especially with the way all-out defense works, the way Mystic Shield works, those things all become better if you have a good save to start with.
Yeah.
When you're putting those things on a 5-up, they are extremely underwhelming. To push you to a 4-up,
that's best case scenario is you get to a 4-up on these. So.
Right, and everybody's got red now, so really you're never getting above that 5-up threshold.
No, it's a very, I think it's a fun army for sure. Like you said, they can be really smashy when they get in. It's nice to have a 2-inch reach. The shooting attack does mortals. Scuttle Tide's still really strong, though I didn't see a need to raise it to 85 points. That seemed like a punch in the gut when it was one of the strongest things they had going. The Ragnarok Spider is extremely far behind for a 295-point model. Like, it's nice that it can cast twice. It can only unbind once. Its attacks are very weak. It really shouldn't move in to do any attacking until, it can be extremely selective with what it's going into. So now we've kind of gone through the whole tour of all of Soulblight and all of Destruction to a certain extent. Obviously, there's a lot more builds in Destruction that we didn't see. What is your feelings on Soulblight at this point?
I think that they're a solid low A-tier army. I think that when you really lean into the power of the army, which is ultimately Virkos, Kastelai is a strong contender in second place for the best sort of builds in the list. But when you lean into Virkos and you bring the good stuff, I think it's an army that can perform extremely well into melee armies. I think it's an army that's going to struggle against the very good shooting lists, the very good shooting armies, that particularly the ones that can do it at long range and pick out selected targets. Manfred against a Lumineth list is just going to be taken off turn 1. And that's the situations where Soulblight is really going to struggle. Now, that doesn't mean if they commit to taking off Manfred turn 1 and he dies, that doesn't mean that the game is lost from there. It's just going to make those matchups particularly difficult. But I think it's an army that's got play. Like I said, in a melee meta, this is a strong army.
Yeah.
And it's got what 3rd edition wants. It's got very effective monsters. It's got very effective horde style play if you lean in that direction, and you can even you don't have to lean fully in that direction. You can bring on a lot of bodies cheaply, which is something that's always valuable.
One thing is you haven't even really committed to like the 60 60 zombie lists, which I think are probably pretty busted. You know, especially with now being able to bring the Gravedigger.
Gorslav, yeah.
Gorslav with 60 seems insane.
I think it can be, right. One big block like that to just tar up the middle of the board, and when your opponent kills them, guaranteed you're bringing 30 back.
Gorslav's almost impossible to kill, really.
When he's near, he's like the Necromancer, he's like Belladama. You've got to shoot through his buddies first.
And the zombies can take. Are they able to take Van Helsing?
Yeah. Which gives them a double 6-inch pile.
Yeah, so almost 12-inch movement.
There's definitely play there. I think combining 60 zombies with something like 40 Graveguard in a list will probably be fairly effective a lot of the time. Blood Knights are just in a strong place. The heroes are good. I think this army has enough to compete in a strong way.
Yeah.
This build of it is not going to be that, right? This build of it is on the fun side. It's just way more effective than an old book is.
Yeah. The one thing though that I don't think can be undersold is just your movement that you have out of the Vampire Lords, where they might be able to sit out of range and still get in based on pinions or whatever they have going for them at the time that increases movement, if it's cogs or whatever. That I do think that sometimes they could just sit out of range and then get in. Manfred, with his teleport out of combat, is extremely effective at taking objectives.
There's so much that teleport does. Taking objectives, being able to redeploy his aura, like I did here in this last round of combat, where the Vorderai was not in range of the aura, but at the start of the combat phase, boom, Manfred moves. The aura is where I need it to be. The ability to screen with him against a melee force, where the melee force can't move around him, has to go into him, and then he's just teleporting away. His war scroll does so much, especially against armies that can't.
You just have to shoot them off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way you're going to get them.
And a lot of armies can't. There's a lot of armies in the meta right now that see him on the table, and if he's in the middle of the table, he's just going to get shot off, done. Lumineth I mentioned, KO obviously, Tzeentch obviously, Seraphon depending on the build. Those armies are just going to remove him from the table, and none of his abilities are going to matter at that point.
My feelings on Destruction right now, I think Gitz is in a really bad spot. They're in desperate need of a new book. I think, for the most part, you see a bunch of B tier lists, other than probably Giants. Bringing 4 Giants is really pretty strong right now. They might not take a lot off the board, but just their presence and multiple wounds and being able to stomp and do a lot of mortals here and there, they're going to be just hard to beat in a game that's set up the way it is right now with battle tactics and monsters being valuable and us playing in Gur. I think that Beastclaw, if the fact that you can take, I don't think you should be able to take 2 Metal Crunchers on any one model, but if you can take a Metal Cruncher on each of your big guys now, that's going to be really vicious to a lot of armies.
And Beastclaw, to be fair, was in a pretty good place before.
Yeah.
The fact that so much of their army are heroes and monsters is a great thing for them. They did lose a little bit of their special sauce in models counting as extra, because now that's more of a general ability that everybody has access to. Not as good as their version of it, but it does diminish the usefulness of that a little bit for them. But I think they're in a pretty good spot.
I would say Ironjaws and Orc War Clans in general are fine. Bone Splitters are weak. I'm sure there's probably better shooting lists that I haven't used yet. I just think, again, they lack rend anywhere, so they're super against it, just being able to take things off. In the attrition, just eventually you're going to lose stuff because they just don't take anything off, really. I mean, their best rend is 1.
I think that there's some interesting play there leaning into curse
Yeah.
as an option.
Curse on
it's
shooting
short
seems really
range,
good.
and you need a 4-up to pull it off. But when you do, suddenly Bone Splitters actually have a very significant output just because of their volume of attacks.
And they have War Dogs that can put it on right now, so
Yeah.
that is nice. I haven't played that yet. I think that's something I want to try and get some shooters with Curse on it just to see what kind of damage they can do. I mean, it seems pretty explosive for them. I think it's hard to talk about anything with Orc War Clans in general because we know book's right around the corner. I think I'm going to move into order a little bit in our next I have some order lists that I want to try. Obviously, Destruction is where my heart's at, but kind of just, as things open up and we get to more competitive tournaments, I want to see what else is out there. Sometimes I feel like Destruction's just, in general, limited. I'm really intrigued to see some shooting come out of the new Orc War Clans book and see what that ends up. Maybe you end up with a super balanced army there. I think Gitz are your fun army. I think Giants are competitive. I think Beastclaw are good. Kragnos has not impressed me, but I could just be using him wrong.
I think Beastclaw bumps up into that, high B, low A sort of category right now. Giants is in that same boat, I think.
All right, great game, Nick.
Yeah, good game. Always fun.
Troggoth, I love them, man. They're just so cool.
Yeah.
One other announcement kind of for the channel is that we're going to kind of hope, we're having a discussion now and we're kind of hope to record specific things where we address just what's going on in the meta or have a discussion on the state of the game and maybe faction specific stuff. More of almost a podcast that we do over YouTube, so we hope that you guys join us for our journey there as well.
Absolutely. We're passionate about the game. We think about and talk about the game a lot, and we'd like to broaden that conversation and get that a little bit wider, so we can, include our viewers and include all of you in those conversations and hear what you'd like to say as well. So,
all right, until next time.
thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.